Hello, welcome to the It's All Good show. Lucas here for a chat. My name is Denise Belisle, and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. Welcome to the It's All Good show. I'm so excited. Every Monday, I'm here and I share with you amazing people, and today will not be an exception. I have an amazing gentleman that will come with me a little bit later, and you'll want to listen all the way to the end. He has so many gems to share with us. You won't be disappointed. So first, let's talk about why I call this show It's All Good. Well, the Lucas here for a chat is quite obvious because I have people with me, but the It's All Good part, it's mostly because of my favorite cup. It's all good. And that cup is always full of water, which I love drinking water. And also because it's good for me, so it's all good. Also, what it says, it's all good. It's something that I have so much deeply into my heart that regardless of what happened in my life, I'm always looking into what's good into that. What's the gift into that situation? What can I learn from that experience? What can I move forward into learning what I've just learned from, regardless of what happened? Because you know what? If it just happened, it's now in the past and you can't change it. I've tried several times to change the past, never worked, never been able to change it. And you can't predict the future either. Because if you're supposed to do something and then the S hit the fan, then you're like, oh, but that was supposed to be this way, but now it's that way. And now guess what? The thing that didn't work out 5 minutes ago, it's now in the past. So you can't change it. So now you got to say it's all good and see what's good in that. What am I learning from that? And then move on. And you can't predict the future. So you got to prepare. Yeah, I agree. Preparing, being organized and all that, but not to the point to drive yourself crazy and expect that everything will happen the way you want it to be, because you're going to create anxiety. You're going to create feeling inside of you that is not comfortable. So live for today, enjoy the day, and have fun. So my guest today, I think we'll have a few laughs with him, and he's Raja Vaidya, and he is a cancer researcher and senior scientist. And you'll say, well, that could be boring. Well, but he's not. And you'll see why. I mean, he's amazing. Like the more I get to talk with him, the more I discover the beauty inside of this man, the more I want to hang out with him. And if he was my neighbor, I would see him all the time. But he lives a little far away from me, so I get the advantage of being with him right here. So let's welcome him right away and let's him introduce himself. So Raja, I'm so happy that you're here. And look at behind him. I mean, Victory Mindset Academy. How good can that be? I mean, that's totally in my line of thought. And you wouldn't think that a researcher and senior scientist for cancer research would have this in his background, but he'll tell us all about it. So Raja, tell us about you, who you are, and how did you end up creating the Victory Mindset Academy?
Well, I always tell people that I'm a triple talent and I'm very eclectic. People think like, how can you do three such different things? But when I go up on stage and I just gave a keynote speech last week, the announcer said, now from the city of brotherly love, the kickboxing, opera singing cancer scientist from Philadelphia, Rocky Balboa, can't stand toe to toe with this guy. It's Raja Vaidya. That's right. And the key there is I bring the victory into everything that I try to do, because I've lived a life growing up with a lot of challenges. I had like a really bad stutter growing up, and so um, as I grew up from a young age, I got picked on, I got bullied. So that's why I got into karate. That's why I got into
Hmm.
music and singing. And so,
Yeah,
how many kickboxing, opera singing, cancer scientists do you know?
you're the only one, and you're the best one.
And then so I started to choose different paths that I could, you know, go into and not have to talk. So basically what
Hmm.
I realized was that even though I was really good at all these things, like in singing in high school, I made it to first chair all state. Uh,
Yeah, because singing, what I've known,
which I
I
love.
never, don't know many people that are stuttering, but singing is different. You don't stutter when you sing, do
It's
you?
not. Nope, nope, you
Isn't
don't.
that
Not at
funny,
all.
eh? A lot of people that have stuttered, they don't, and then it's like, hey, I can't do that, and I don't have any, hold back from that.
Yeah.
So let's do it, and I think that's amazing.
We're singing like there's like I remember in our district choir like during our competition time we had a T-shirt that said "Sing, let your spirit fly," and I thought, wow,
Mm,
what a really
beautiful.
appropriate
Yeah,
theme for all of us who were singing. And it was the same thing in karate. It's like I let my body uh, do the talking for
yeah,
me. And the same thing in
yeah,
research. I got into research because actually one of my aunts, she actually got a stage four leukemia, and so as a result, I remember going into cancer research after I got into a dental school, but my dad got sick, so I stopped everything and
yeah,
I went into cancer research, and in 3 years I co-authored three papers, and people said, "Wow, Roger, you're pretty good at this." I said, "Huh, maybe. Let me just see where this goes." So I just kind of kept on going,
yeah.
and it was another place to hide where I could kind of hide in the lab and not have to talk and give presentations.
Yeah, you could write
Yeah,
whatever, your
yeah,
research and all that, but
exactly. But eventually, that's going to catch up with you, and that's what happened. Because
yeah,
in 2016, one of my partners, I did this really big project. I was making all these cloning products for our clinical trial, so they were using them as controls for this multi-million-dollar trial. And I spent 6 months on this. I did a great job on it,
yeah.
and I didn't want to present it, so she did. So she got the credit for it.
Mm.
She got a promotion, and she left my name off of the PowerPoint slide deck.
Then it's like,
Yeah, yeah. She put it all the way at the back with like the 20 other people saying, also thanks to. Like, excuse me? That's half my work up there. Half those slides up there were mine. So that's when I realized I had to find my voice.
you need to present your own work for
Hmm.
sure. So what did you do in order to change that?
Well, I had heard about this thing called Toastmasters,
Mhm.
and I remember I think I was in graduate school. I'd heard about that,
Yeah.
and I just thought, nah, I don't want to do that because I was cheap. I didn't want to spend 60, $70 for 6 months. Now I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Things
Imagine
you
how
would
much
have
help.
changed in your life for sure.
And now, you know, I've been um, I've been blessed that I've been the president of the Johnson and Johnson Toastmasters Club last year. I've been the area director with 5 clubs underneath
Yeah.
me, and because if I can face my fear of speaking in front of people, I think everybody can. Because fear stands for face everything and rise.
Wow, beautiful.
And so
Yeah.
when I did that, that gave me the opportunity. So this year, I just competed again in the international speech category, and I just won the area contest
Congratulations. Now
uh,
you're going to the
three
division
years in a
contest.
row. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm going onto the like a division and see where we go. Last
Yeah.
year I was the runner up like in the division. So you know
Yeah.
every year I keep getting closer and closer to the
That's
international.
amazing. And I
So
just want to explain for those that heard of Toastmasters but don't really know what that is. My impression when I first heard about it, that was 25 years ago. That was so long ago. And then I had a friend, he was going to Toastmasters. And but my impression of Toastmasters was you were in an amphitheater and you had hundreds of people in front of you, and
mhm,
then you were had to go on stage and talk. And I was terrified. I said, no way, I'm not doing that. But then 12 years later, 12, 15 years later, which was about 2012 or 2013, I encountered another lady that was talking about Toastmasters. And then I went to have a coffee with her. And then I said, okay, tell me about Toastmasters.
yeah,
How does that work? And then she explained, oh no, we're just in a room. There's about 15, 20 of us.
yep,
And we all have a chance to say something. And some of us are getting up and delivering speeches, and which is 5 minutes, and then you get an evaluation, not a critic, not a pull down, not a push
yeah.
down. It evaluates you to tell you like what you could improve and the things you've done really well. And I was like, oh, I think I can do
Yeah,
that.
this sounds cool
so
now,
so
right?
yeah, so that's what Toastmaster is about. It's not like you end up, you throw you on the stage with hundreds of people in front of you, that's when you go to the contest.
Yeah,
But that's you've earned years of experience, or at least a year or two of experience to do that.
yeah.
But don't be afraid. So
And those
if,
are
like,
options.
I have a client, she's afraid of public speaking, and I say, go find yourself a Toastmaster group and go in it.
Tell her to talk to me. I'll help her find her voice.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so amazing. So continue. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
that little parenthesis for people that,
yeah.
like me 25 years ago, were terrified and didn't know what it was all about. And it
Well, that
changed my life. I'm
well,
sure
well,
it
that's where I
changed
was
yours too.
5 years ago. I just joined Toastmasters in 2017.
Yeah.
So it's only been 5 years for me. Actually,
Change your life, eh?
yeah, and it changed me forever. And
Yeah.
now I can talk in front of any audience on any topic anywhere. I don't care if it's 10 people in front of me or 10,000 people in front of me.
Yeah. You
I
don't
can
even
do it.
have to be prepared. You know that you can deliver something,
Yeah,
right?
and the best part about it is that uh, Buffett says that the number one skill that you need in order to become super successful is public speaking. So any of
Mhm.
you out there that says, "Oh, well, I don't like to do that. I don't like to talk in front of people. I don't," that's okay. You don't have to make uh, millions of dollars or billions of dollars, but I do. I want to. So that means, and and the reason is, it's it's not the it's not what you think. I want to be I want to become a billionaire philanthropist, and I want to live off
Yeah.
of 1% of my income, which will
Yeah.
be plenty at that point.
Oh, yeah,
And
for sure.
and the other 99%, I want to solve the world's problems. I think that there are real problems out there that we need serious people that can help and that can make an impact. So I would love to have clean drinking water all around the world. Why is it that
Yeah.
the earth is covered with 70% water, but half the population can't get clean drinking water?
I know.
Or, or in a world that
And
has so
everybody
much
should
food.
be able to have something to eat
Yeah. And,
in any country, like
you know,
the United
let
States are
alone
becoming a
Canada
third
or the
world
US,
country, right?
how can someone go hungry? I don't understand that,
Yeah.
'Cause, like, I was born in India where I've seen many, many people go hungry, and you see these homeless children on the streets.
Yeah.
One of my goals for that, one of my long-term goals is I want to get homeless kids off the street and into a school. So that way
Yeah.
they get a meal, they get clean clothes, they get an education, and then in about 10 years, you've changed their life forever. And
Yeah, and
only
that's
then
an
can children
economy
do.
problem, and we
Yeah.
all know that, right? Like you see and you hear and you see, like, company having to throw away their crop because
Oh,
they made
shame.
too much, right? Or
Yeah.
they would there's anyway, like
And
when
they
I
try
when
to
I hear
donate
that, like,
locally.
perfectly good food being thrown away, I mean, it
Yeah.
kills me.
I know, and even during the pandemic, there was a lot of that happening where there were so many crops that just couldn't be harvested.
Yeah,
So a lot of that food went to spoil.
yeah,
And you'd be
and a lot of
surprised
people went hungry.
how much of food waste there is,
Yeah,
not just here in
yeah,
the U.S., but like all around the world.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
uh, one of my goals and ideas for that is that we need to have di- a distribution network so that as soon as you know that you're going to have an excess target and anything above that point, call the people, call the trucks,
They'll come
call
and
whoever
pick it
needs it,
up, no
call the
problem.
food banks, call the churches, whoever, and get it out there and just say, listen, every week there's free food Saturday or free food
Yeah,
Sunday. I don't know, pick a day, and all of a sudden, people will show up. But when you tell them that, in advance, you know what, there's going to be excess food here, and if you need it, take it. If you don't need it, don't worry
yeah.
about it.
Or throw away food because it doesn't look as great as it could,
Yeah.
like a deformed tomato. Well, deformed tomato tastes really good. That's usually the one you grow in your own garden and they taste so delicious, right?
Yeah. Right. Right.
So tell me a little bit more about what's the Victory Mindset Academy. How
Right.
did you end up
So
starting that? Like, so from being a scientist that has so much success as your business to wanting to speak in order to present your project, going to Toastmasters, and now you have the Victory Mindset Academy. So how did that
yeah.
came about?
Well, what happened was a few years back, I was in a bad car accident, and you know, I was the head instructor for my karate teacher school for 25 years. Then I opened up my own karate school for the past 7 years. And then after that accident, I had to close my school because I injured my neck. So I
Hmm.
have spinal compression in C4, 5, 6, and 7. So it's a lot of pain. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
means
yeah.
my neck, shoulder, and back would alternately every 2 weeks. The one of them would go into spasms, and it wouldn't release for 2 weeks. So any strength training or any health benefits I had gotten would basically like disappear overnight, and I have to restart from scratch again every time. So I
Yep.
closed my karate school, and I had to find a way to pivot. So back in 2019, I launched Victory Mindset Academy because I had to go through my own personal development journey, because I
Hmm.
realized that for a while, after like a previous accident, I had you know I have scar lines. I don't know if you can see here, where my head smashed the windshield,
Hmm.
and it took out a chunk of my hair. And I had glassed my head for 6 months. One eye was tracking slower than the other eye for a
Hmm.
year, and I couldn't turn my head to the left for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's a
That
long,
kind of slow you
yeah.
down. You have a big path of
So I
recovery
start,
after all that.
yeah. So I started personal development and personal transformation. I read every single book I could, and started to listen to TEDx talks and podcasts and like motivational speakers, and went to seminars and paid a lot of money to gurus. And probably over the past 6 years, I spent over six figures learning and improving the like a real estate in my brain. And you
Yeah.
know what? It is the best money I've ever spent. Don't let anybody ever tell you, oh, that program costs too much, or you shouldn't be spending so much on some program or something. Yes, you should, if you're going to use it. If you're not going to use it, well, then don't spend the money.
Yeah.
But
Like buying food and letting waste in the fridge, right?
exactly, yeah, buy what you're going to use. But here's the point: you don't know what you need until you start doing it. And I
Hmm.
didn't know what I needed until I started doing it. And when I started this whole personal transformation journey, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe my eyes see so much more now than they ever did. And as a result,
Yeah.
I'm happier, I'm more fulfilled. Like the past 9 months, by the way, after my accident, I had gained 70 pounds. And my health was really bad for a while because I
Yeah,
couldn't
of course.
exercise, I couldn't work out, I couldn't swim anymore, I couldn't ride a bike. So it was very hard to kind of look at my body in in the mirror, where I saw, like, before I was a like world champion in the martial arts, and I was a like Olympic qualifier like when I was 18 years old. So to see a body that's 70 pounds overweight, and it's not my fault.
You just don't
My health
recognize
felt like it
yourself
was
anymore,
stolen
right?
from me. Right.
Yeah.
But because of this whole journey, in the past 9 months, I've just released 38 pounds.
Congratulations.
So
Yeah,
much
for there.
healthier now, and I'm on my way being back closer to that competition shape. Time to turn this dad bod back into a hot bod, and you know so the reason why I started the my own company was that because I realized the transmission change that I had myself. I understood that this mind shift, it really works. It's amazing. It's now you're unstoppable. You feel like there there's no limits to what you can do. Like,
Hmm.
I want to create 1 billion mind shifts, and as part of that, when I launched with my beta groups, I had 2 beta cycles. I had 100% success rate in helping people create a mind shift
Hmm.
and facing their fears and overcoming their challenges.
Yeah.
And then I came out with my book idea about, what were the 3 to 5 main things that really helped me change? Well, it was health, wealth, mindset, faith, and family. And like a rising tide, it's going to raise all the ships in your life.
Yeah.
And that coincidentally is the name of my next summit. It's called the Rising Tide Summit, and it's going to be entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. So, that's it's amazing how much things have really exploded for me in the past year.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really why I do it. Is
You're
that
like you're like the
I love
phoenix that
giving people.
rise out of the ashes, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. You go from hero to zero and breaking back up there, climbing back up, crawling back up to
I
that.
call that from zero to hero.
Yeah. And that's really where, you have to restart your whole life. And that's what it
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. And and amongst all that, like in your adversity, whenever you had your car accident, excuse me, and your health problem,
Yeah.
and but at the same time, you were still working as a scientist, right?
I was.
So
I was still
tell
working
me
full time.
how now has your life changed after that 5 years of being able to become a better speaker and being able to work on your mindset in those
Wow.
last 5 years, and how has that affected your work as a scientist and being able to present your own projects?
Well, here's the thing. When I started growing and the people around me started to see, some people didn't like it because you start to become the leader that other people start to see in you finally. But the people that are closest to you in my lab, my team, my group, my coworkers,
They
some
got
of the
afraid,
managers,
right?
they don't they don't like that you start to improve beyond them.
Yeah.
And they when they nominated me and I was elected the Toastmasters president at Johnson and Johnson, you know, I think some people were very happy for me. Some people I think were not. And so that's why I kept on going. But you know what though? In the past 3 years, because I did do Toastmasters, I spearheaded a speaker confidence workshop series at
Yeah.
J&J. And where the first year, I told the Toastmasters group there, like, listen, the way you're inviting people into the group, it's not working. It's boring, and it's you say, oh, let's do a speaker training class. Let's do a speaker practice series. I'm like, no, no, none of those things sounds interesting. Let's do a speaker confidence workshop. And then when I made the slide deck, I made sure it was my name front and center and it was me teaching it. So I taught this 2 hour workshop to full-time J&J employees.
Yeah.
And the first year we had 20 people sign up, but 40 people signed up live. And then the second year, the pandemic hit, 2020,
Yeah.
and we had 80 people on it.
Online.
And then yeah, online. And then the
Excuse
third
me.
year, I had over 150. We kind of broke the Zoom link because there were too many people, so we had to find somebody else's account that could accommodate 150
Yeah, more than
150
100
people.
people. Yeah.
And then one of the um, one of the talent coordinators up at the main set up in New Brunswick, New Jersey, invited me to teach what I was doing up to 300 plus J&J employees. So I had my next workshop was over 300.
Good
So
for
as a result
you.
of that, this grew so fast and got so big, people had no idea. Then they saw me in a new light. They're like, "Oh my God, Roger's a leader." I had
Yeah.
no idea because a lot of these people had never heard me talk before because I was usually quiet or just talk like one on one in meetings. But they never saw me like that on a stage, really guiding people. And as a result, I won a I won a company wide Inspire Award for changing Johnson and Johnson culture for the better.
Good for
So
you. Good for you. And
all
that
the
upsets
people
a
that
lot of
had
people.
award-winning workshop. It's not hype. It's the real thing. And
Yeah.
being a black belt and being especially, I've been doing martial arts now for over 38 years. I'm a
Yeah.
sixth degree master black belt. I'm in the Black Belt Hall of Fame, actually a few halls of fame. And now, and I don't tell that to brag. I just tell that to I let you know that when I'm outside the karate school, I don't need the title. I don't ask anybody to call me Master Vaidya outside the karate school. My students do. But
Yeah.
other than that, I just say, no, just call me Roger. Or if you really want to, you can call me Coach. My clients do. It's fine with me. But I don't need the ego boost because remember that belt that I wear, that 6th degree belt, the belt doesn't make me. I make the belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who you
You're
are
the
with
one that
is
worked
who you
towards
really
it
are.
for sure.
Yeah, because I've seen too many people that hide behind the titles. Call me Professor this or Doctor this or Grandmaster this. I'm like, okay, okay,
But
relax,
then the
relax.
ego
Let
gets
me
in the
explain.
way during that time,
Exactly.
right? Like it, and
So
when your ego is stronger than your accomplishment, then people they don't
they get
really
turned
look
off.
at you.
They get turned off, and that's one thing
Yeah.
I also realize, and that's why I do this is that I don't want anybody's title to get in the way of us connecting. I'd rather
Mhm.
connect with you as a human being first. Then later on,
Yeah.
you find out all my accomplishments. You're like, oh my God, this guy is really accomplished. I say, yeah, but that's okay. I just worked at it. That's it. Only thing I do, listen, I'm not smarter than anybody. I'm not better than anybody. In fact, like uh, physically, when I was growing up, I had definitely health disadvantages. I had asthma, which I didn't even know I had. And, my family, like we didn't eat meat. We were all vegetarian, so I didn't have a lot of strength. I didn't have a lot of protein, you know. But you know what though? I just out trained everybody. That's it. So
Yeah, yeah,
after I went to World Championships at 16, I made a 2-year plan to go to the Olympics. I trained 5 or 6 days a week for 4 or 5 hours,
yeah.
and you can ask my karate teacher, and he'll vouch for that. And he said he has never seen anybody train as hard as me and be so consistent. And that's what took me up to the upper echelons of of like of like world athletes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and so that's why I tell all of you this, because I want to show that I'm not special. I just out train everybody, but I use the right strategies. So sort of like if you're going to try to chop down a tree, you don't use a sledgehammer, you don't use a piece of wood, you use a sharpened axe. And when you're trying to change your mind shift, a lot of people are just trying to chop down that tree with a baseball bat. It's not going to work. You need to find the right tips, the right strategies, the right hacks, the right coach that can guide you along through that. And when you
Hmm.
find that, that's when you start to get uncomfortable, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and you find your success on the other side of that.
That's awesome. And I agree with you because it's people are afraid of change because that's
Yep.
that time where you get uncomfortable. It's like, like you go work out, for example, because mindset is a workout, right? It's like
Yeah,
going to the gym.
it
But
really is.
if people don't understand that, imagine if you ever been to the gym or play a sport or do an activity you're not used to,
Yep.
then your body ache. And what does that mean when your body ache? It means that you stretch your muscle, you stretch, you have to break down the muscle and for it to grow and to become like a stronger muscle. And that's uncomfortable. But when you work about the mindset, that's the same thing. You'll have a period of time, and that will come back from time to time, just like muscles. Sometime when you ramp up your workout, you'll get a little bit sore again.
Yeah.
But that
Building
section
brain
of
cells is
being
hard work.
uncomfortable, it's because you're growing, it's because you're building your awareness, you're making some changes in your mind that your old self is like, no, don't go there, we don't want to change. And then it's like, yeah, I want to change, I want to grow there. And that's what working on our mindset is all about, is making that
Yeah.
effort to overpass that uncomfortable feeling of not being right in our old shoes. It's like, oh, these shoes are too tight now. And let's move on. Let's do something else. And that's what working on our mindset is all about. And I
Yeah.
agree with you. It gotta get a bit uncomfortable before it gets better. And
Yeah.
then you know what? It will get uncomfortable again in the future because you're always growing.
It's just part of the cycle. You are going to go through phases. And um, there's a quote by Stephen Martin, like a famous comedian actor.
Yeah.
And he said, because in the beginning of his career, when he was trying to do stand-up comedy, he was having a hard time trying to find work. And so he just kept training and improving and kept on sharpening his craft. And his quote, which really sticks with me, he says, be so good they can't ignore you. Because at some point, people will start to realize, oh my God, this guy's really good. How come we didn't see him before? How come we didn't pay attention before?
Yeah.
And that it all comes down to, well, because you hadn't thought about it, you ignored somebody. But when you get good enough, everybody starts to notice where you are. And so last year, remember I told you about my challenge to myself and also to show my clients. I had been doing like once a week trainings to my client coaching group, and so I had 3 years of that. But I wanted to up level my game and also challenge myself to do live interviews. So last year in August, I said, you know what, I'm going to try to do 100 interviews in 6 months, and unfortunately that didn't happen. I did 204 in 5 months.
That's
So
crazy.
I crushed it. And now I'm nearing 250, and I can't believe how fast I've been. And that's only been in 8 months. So
Yeah.
some people say, "Wow, it's hard to do 50 interviews in a whole year." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I did 50 in like 6 weeks."
Yeah.
Um, and once again, it's not to brag, it's to show that I didn't know what I was doing. but I believed in myself,
But
and
how
I
much
believed,
did you improve since the
yeah,
beginning, right? Like for
and
me, like
because
I
of
the
that,
same.
yeah, and because of that, I actually got this next job with a company that appreciates my diversity. They appreciate my speech problems, but they accept me as I am. And I used to be ashamed of my speech impediment, but instead now I say, you know what? Sorry, not sorry. This is who
Mm.
I am. Deal with it.
Yeah,
And
and eventually whatever
that's it.
I need to say will come out. It just
That's
you
right.
just have to
It
have a
all comes
little
out anyway.
second of patience.
Yeah. But doing all those interviews, it built up my confidence. Now, just like you, I can talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And for anybody that wants to find a way to work with me closer, I've given Denise a link for you to connect with me. I've also sent
So
my
let's
email
see.
out.
So how can we
And,
reach Raja? Here we
well,
go.
yeah.
So send him
Uh,
an email.
Send me an email. It's just Raja V like victory speaker at gmail.com.
And when you
Raja
say
V.
victory, you gotta hit the bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Victory. You get the victory bell. Woohoo! And on top of
That's
that,
awesome.
yeah, I'm doing a workshop uh, this weekend, but also be again. You'll get the link for the following month also, um, and because you're watching on Denise's show, I'm gonna give you a coupon called VMA 50 off, and you'll get a $50 off this life-changing 3 hour workshop.
And
This is like
you do
workshop.
them regularly. You just did one this weekend. So when is
I
the
did.
next one?
Yeah, when's the next one's going to be next month? So,
Okay,
there's
perfect.
going to be actually there's one this Saturday, then there's going to be one the following month, right? So if you sign up for it, you'll get access to it. And what I do is like you sign up once and you get it for all the way up until the end of the year. So the sooner you
Perfect.
get it, sooner you sign up, you get this is what
April.
April. So you'll get 7 months of it. I mean, with
Perfect.
I normally charge clients if they want a one-on-one consult with me, it costs them $800, and we go through their messaging, the story, their marketing, their funnels, their automations, and we craft their offer, and I help them to launch the right way, just like I've been doing, and my income because I focused on impact first, my income has skyrocketed, and
Of course, because the more you give, the more you receive.
yeah,
It's
and
always been the rules, right? The
yeah,
more you give, the more you'll receive. And
yeah. For example, I gave away 180 interviews on my show for free. And then I realized, you know what? Wait, I got to pay my VA team because I was losing money. Now I just charge a small admin fee, and that's it. And because I'm still focusing on the impact. I'm not trying to profit from that. I'm trying to create impact
yeah,
because the more people that I connect with, the more fun I have. And the more fun I have, the more fun you're going to have with me. Because
absolutely.
I think if we have fun growing and learning to learn together, you get to be a black belt not just in your business, but also in your life and also in your relationships. It just spills over in everything that you do because how you do one thing is how you do everything.
That's awesome. That's super cool. I love that. And I'm so glad that we got to get to know each other. Like I was on your show a couple weeks ago and now
Yeah,
you're on mine. And
and you were a great guest. We had so much fun, didn't we?
yes, we did. We always do. Because we both work on our mindset. So, imagine you meet two people that are connected in and aware of who they are, what they
Yeah,
do, and think about like, hey, it's all good. Whatever happened, happened.
yeah,
It happened for a reason, and you just move on. And if things didn't work out the way you want, hey, that's okay. It's all good. Let's continue, right?
that's
You
okay.
just
Yeah.
you just stab your
Well,
toe. Hey,
well,
that
you know what?
hurts, but that's okay. Let's move on.
Viktor Frankl said, and he wrote a book. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he talked about how he would compartmentalize his mind so that he could survive the like Nazi
Yeah, yeah.
death camps. And he was the one that actually like originated that. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control your perception of what happens to you.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's so powerful. And I'm like, oh my God, just imagine
yeah,
being in the situation he was in for over 2 years.
yeah.
And he survived. what he had to do to survive, not only physically but mentally.
Mentally is
Whew.
huge, you know. And I agree with that, and that's what I tell, my clients and my potential clients all the time,
Yeah.
because working with mindset, for me, it's eliminating the stress. And how do you eliminate the stress? People say, well, they were surrounding by stuff that are stressful, and like,
Yep.
I just can't help it. Like, it's stressful to drive to work with all the crazy people. It's stressful to prepare for that presentation. And then I say, well, yeah, the situation won't change. It's your perception of the situation that will make you realize that, hey, I can deal with that. I can handle that. It's not as bad as it seems. And it's your perception. I always say, if you have two people side by side and they experience the same scenario,
Yeah.
one will get super stressed out and the other one will be okay. And where is that? It's their perception to what they see. That's their buildup of stress, right? So I agree with you. It's
Indeed.
how you perceive what's in front of you that will make the difference.
Indeed. It will.
So
Well,
thank you so much. Do you have any one last tip before we go? And then
yeah.
it's already past half an hour.
Yeah,
So
I know. So everyone out there, listen, first of all, like I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thank Miss Denise for like bringing me on the show. Like I had a blast working with you and just sharing my story and my impact with you. Please do connect with me. And one of the things I've seen like a lot of entrepreneurs do is they'll try to fake it till they make it. But what I say on my show and to all of my clients, I say, listen, don't fake it till you make it. Instead, believe it and become it.
I love that. Believe it and become it.
Mhm.
That's a great tool. So thank you so much. So stay there. I'll be right back with you. So thank you everyone for listening. I mean, there was like tons of amazing information. You would never have thought that from a cancer researcher and senior scientist. And and there's gems in everybody I meet. So if you'd like to have more of these videos, I encourage that you come and check my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/at denisebelil.com, and all my videos or my previous recordings are there. Also, as the tip of the day, everything I produce, I put it on YouTube. So I invite you to go there. And if you would like to meet with me and explore how we can work together in order to work on your mindset and help you change your perception also of the way you see your life. And if you want to rock the second half of your life and really shift from crisis to oasis, people like me and Raja, we're here to support you and help you. So until next time, be kind to one another, and I wish you an amazing week. Goodbye.